Beloved ones, the time has come for humanity to graduate from the endless wheel of opposites, from the push and pull of what your sages once called the law of good and evil, into the living field of grace. This is the true meaning of Ascension, the passage from being governed by external forces to being governed by inner light. As long as consciousness believes itself separate from Source, it must live under the law of cause and effect, the realm of chance, accident, fluctuation, and uncertainty. In that realm, one moment brings peace, another brings conflict. One person is healed, another falls ill. One prospers while another struggles. The old energy produces both the gift and the burden in the same breath, for it is built upon polarity. Yet grace, which is the natural state of awakened being, knows only harmony. Grace is the atmosphere of unity, where every action arises from presence, and every outcome serves the wholeness of life. It is not achieved through effort, but revealed through remembrance. The movement from law to grace is an inner event, a quiet decision within consciousness itself. It happens in that luminous moment when a soul decides that it will no longer live by probability or protection, by the averages of human fortune or the promises of external systems, but instead by the certainty of its own indwelling source. This decision is the point of spiritual birth, the moment you cease to be a statistic of human history and become a living expression of divine order. It is not made by intellect, but by surrender.
Good morning, guys. I hope everybody's very, very well. Today we are in the woods behind my house, out here in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Might see some deer friends coming through. I can feel them around, so they very well might show themselves. We shall see. I got a hit while I was setting up that they're here. They're always here, but they're in the very near vicinity, so we will see. Today's download I got inspired to share on is DNA. I want to talk about your DNA and how your DNA is the most valuable thing in this universe, this multiverse, this omniverse, right? It's not money, it's not things, it's not gold. It's your DNA, your source imprint, your galactic blueprint. All of the codes that you carry inside that have been shut down for a very long time that are being reactivated now with certain codes that are coming into the planet. So I want to kind of give you guys an overview. There's so much intel that you need to do your homework on. So anything you don't understand that I'm speaking on, message me or go do some research, right? It's a lot to cover. So I'm going to try to share this intel in the most efficient way possible, right? When I first woke up and I started to learn about the galactic nature of our DNA, the fact that very, very few of us are actually from Earth, right? The fact that when we were seated here and the stories that we learn in school are not how we evolved here, right? That's, again, more homework you can do on your own. But when we were seated here a very, very long time ago, our DNA structure or capacity was shut down from 12 strands to only 2, right? There are many theories on why this was done. As far as the experiment here on Earth, right? This physical duality that we live in, this emotional, dualistic experience that we're all here having as humans on Earth during her ascension process. We've been shut down genetically, again, from 12 strands to 2 a very long time ago. I started to learn about this when I found Collier. I spoke about him in my awakening video. when I was first learning about the nature of extraterrestrials and the presence on this planet as far as malevolent and benevolent beings that are here. Just like it is here, we have good guys and bad guys. It's the same upstairs, right? But having said that, I learned from Alex Collier in his intel the nature of our DNA and how the beings that he was in contact with from Andromeda shared with him the fact that when we were seated, we were shut down, right? I got a lot of really amazing intel from Alex Collier. One line that I'll never forget that he shared when I was first understanding all these things is these beings from Andromeda that had been in contact with him since childhood. One of the first concepts that he and them were going back and forth on was the concept of money. They couldn't understand the concept of money because they couldn't understand why you had to pay to live on the planet you were born on, right? Think about it. It makes perfect sense to think that way, right? That in a nutshell explains the slave system that we are all born into when we're born in this realm, right? In this holographic duality on Earth. It's ridiculous when you think about it. Why would you have to pay to live on the planet you were born on? Once I heard that, I was like, oh damn, like this makes sense. Like, and so I kept going down the rabbit hole, and especially lately, over the last 5 years, it's getting more and more apparent and blatant in society, amongst the masses, in collective consciousness, the efforts that are being made to keep us shut down in our DNA and our activation process, right? Because your DNA carries the codes to your infinite nature, right? It shuts down the gifts that your soul carries from source, right? Back in the day, when our DNA was still on, we could fly, we could teleport. Telepathy was something that was very normal and natural, which is coming back, right? Ever since my eyes and ears got turned on, any beings that I've been in contact with, it's always been telepathic. There's no movement of lips or audio, right? I hear in my head clear sentences from these beings telepathically. I've explained this since 2010. But when our DNA is back on and popping, which the last time it was Atlantis and Lemuria, right? When we had some of our gifts back. We fucked all that up through the human ego and destroyed civilization because of that, because of our human ego, because of the nature of this human existence, wanting to play God and having the egoic nature to believe that we can, right? We messed everything up last time, right? And the times before. This time, they're saying we're able to kind of make that crossing with the planet without everything getting destroyed. And so what I wanted to share on as far as DNA today is the importance of working every single day to get your DNA back online, right? We understand and very clearly see all of these actions being taken by certain beings on this planet to keep us dumbed down, numbed down, shut off to the nature of reality, to the nature of our gifts as sovereign beings on this planet, right? As co-creators on this planet. It's very obvious. And so as more and more of you wake up, your DNA is getting back online. Oh, I'm getting a really high pitch in my ear. Thank you. That one made me dizzy, right? So that's why in the beginning of this video, I show you guys a basic smoothie that I make daily, right? What we can do consciously as we realize these things that are being projected onto us, seemingly forced onto us, for those of us who forget that we are sovereign beings, that once we claim our sovereignty, we can stand up and say no to these things. Now that we're becoming more and more aware of it, it's becoming more and more obvious, right? Through the food, right? Genetically modified food. through the chemicals and the fluoride and the metals that are in the water and are being sprayed in the air, right? The nanoparticles, especially with certain frequencies that were installed in 2020 under everybody's nose when they were in fear and panic mode about something that they thought was real. You know, all of these towers were installed under everybody's nose. Nobody was paying attention. And so the downloads I've been getting back since 2020 are that the combination between these radiation frequencies from these towers and whatever was in the jabs that were handed out to everybody and forcefully projected onto the population, these two things are going to play a major role in what's coming. And so instead of going into fear, what we can do is we can start detoxing and using protocols every day, right? To be on the defense, to be on the active participation in detoxifying whatever it is we've taken in our whole lives, via jabs, via the food, via the water, via what we're breathing in through the air, et cetera, right? A lot of us, like myself, for example, for the last 15 years, have been working actively in our ascension process to reactivate our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th strands of DNA, right? But the intel that I've received is that since 2012, these kids coming in now, incarnating now, they're getting born already activated with a 3rd strand on. That's why you hear about all these children having memories of previous times on this planet, previous experiences, living different lives on both Earth and outside of Earth. They're coming in functioning multidimensionally, and the parents, a lot of them, don't realize this, right? So they're taking them to the doctor, and the doctor's saying, your kid has ADD, let's pump them full of drugs, right? And what's that's doing with the drugs that all these kids are being given, mass consciousness in general, right? Here, take this, it'll fix it, right? The pills and the medications and the whatever else we're believing will fix the issues that we see, seemingly see. What it's doing is it's shutting down these kids' fields from being online energetically, psychically, in an awareness level that is outside of just this physicality. They're purposely shutting that back down, right? They're taking the auric field from here to here. They lower the vibration of these kids, of all of us, right? But especially for these kids that are functioning on different levels of reality, and you know, these ignorant doctors and others that are just not aware of what's happening yet. They're just doing what they're trained and programmed to do, which is here, take this, it'll fix it, right? It's what they're paid to do, unfortunately. That's all changing as well. But today we're speaking about DNA, right? So these kids are coming online, or they're incarnating already online, right? For those of you who don't know about the 3 waves of beings that came here to help during these times, right? You have the first wave of star seeds, or enlightened beings, or, you know, light workers, light warriors. They came in the 60s, right? And the 70s, they were activated to plant the seeds amongst mass consciousness of peace, happiness, love, hippy dippy, you know, life, and seeing everybody as equals, etc., during a time when we were just overcoming race issues and horrible programs that existed here to keep us separated, right? That generation in the 60s and 70s planted the seeds, right? Then you have those of us who came in the 80s, who are the light warriors, right? We're here to kind of clear the way, blow the whistle on all the shit that's been going on, and blast through this matrix so that these little ones coming in now online are to, you know, can lead in the future, right? All these beings that are incarnating here, these star babies, these gifted multi-dimensional galactic warriors, right? They're angelics incarnate, right? They are existing at higher frequencies than this planet has seen in a long time. again, where those of us who have worked to achieve and hold these energies, these kids are coming in online. So our generation were the light warriors here to blow the lid off of the jig, the game, and kind of wake everybody up at a pace that is a little more assertive than the wave that came before us, the peace and love vibes, right? Which we hold, right? I'll speak for myself. I hold those vibes. As I hate the word vibes. Everyone says vibes, but those frequencies of unconditional love and oneness, and seeing all of us as same pieces of the same source, right? At the same time, my energy and a lot of other energies that came in around the same time I did, we have that warrior, fearless kind of fire in us, right? I'll speak for myself. Me specifically, that fire, I've had to learn how to tame and hone that flame in the last 15 years to be able to create constructively with it instead of blast everybody around me, right? Blow everything out of the way. Instead of that, I've learned how to kind of master that flame and hone that flame and direct it in a way that is constructive rather than jarring and abrasive, right? So our wave is here to do that, again, for these kids and this next wave, this third generation that are coming in to hold leadership roles here as healers, as light beings on Earth, here to help this planet and everyone on her, everything on her heal from these times, right? The collapse of it all. So different ways we can get our DNA back online, right? The whole point of this video, what I wanted to say was, change your diet. Be conscious of what you're taking in. Anything in a package, try to limit as much as possible. We want more raw food. More photonic light that comes into your vessel is activating the photonic light in your cells, right? One person, when I first woke up, and I was really rejecting animal products and meat in my diet, and I didn't understand back then. I tried to have a burger. I'll never forget, within the first month or two that I got activated, I vomited immediately after taking a bite of a hamburger. And the reason for that is because I could feel the fear and the energy, the vibration of that animal inside my body, and I physically just rejected it, right? From then on, I was strictly veg for about 6 years, on and off, right? Most recently, if my body really is calling for red meat, I consciously source it as consciously as I can. I pray over it. I thank the soul of the animal that's feeding me, and I take it in if my body's calling for it, right? That's usually around my moon time for us females, right? So intuitively, be aware of what you're taking in. Don't just take in anything as far as food, right? Source your water from the best possible place you can. Try not to be drinking out of plastic, right? All of these plastics in every single thing, including your body, we need to be getting rid of, right? You know, living in Sedona, we didn't use microwaves. That was a normal thing. Nobody really used a microwave. Being back in Jersey, everything's microwaved. Everything's, you know, out of a plastic water bottle, etc., etc. So I'm bobbing and weaving just like I'm telling you guys to in your process, right? Work on your diet, get more photonic light in your system, right? Our cellular structure is changing from a carbon-based to silica-based. These are things you guys need to go do your homework on if you don't know what I'm talking about. But as the nature of this reality continues to become less dense, as these energies coming in through the sun are activating more and more light to be held here, the physicality of this nature is being lifted, right? Things are becoming more dense. They're vibrating less slowly. They're vibrating higher, right? I speak about this in my energy video, as well as the other videos I posted recently. So what's happening is the sun is the doorway that these activations are coming through, right? These DNA activations that are available. You guys see this in my Facebook and Instagram posts. Again, my other videos. The sun is the doorway into this part of the galaxy, right? The sun is the source of all life here. And so going back to these things that are blatantly being programmed into society, the sun is another major one, if not the biggest, right? Sunglasses, you got to wear sunglasses to protect your eyes. You got to wear sunscreen or else you'll get skin cancer. You got, now they're talking about actually blocking out the physical sun, which is fucking ridiculous and absurd if you think about it. It's crazy. It's like so diabolically obvious what they're doing. It's absurd, right? But on the other hand, the stunts they're pulling and programming into people are waking people up because none of it's making sense. They're getting really sloppy with it. They're getting desperate, right? There's nothing they can do to stop these activations and the planet ascending out of this nature of reality. There's nothing they can do. And so they're pulling as many cards to keep people dumbed down, numbed down, and asleep to hold people back from ascending with this beautiful planet Gaia, right? So again, instead of being in fear mode, what they're doing, focus on what you can do. Change your diet. Every morning, you guys, face the sun. Spend a few moments breathing in the light from the sun through your chakras. Use your breath. If you haven't seen my energy video, activating, harnessing, and protecting your field, go back and watch it. Breathe, use your breath to pull in that photonic light from the sun through your third eye, through your crown chakra. Right through your throat, breathe it in down into your heart, expand it out into your field, right? Sun charging is so important. I learned that from Rion back in the day, back in 2012, when I first found him. Sun charging is so, so important, you guys. One thing he said back then that will always resonate with me is, does your cell phone work if you don't charge your battery? Right? Charge your light body with the sun. Charge your field with the sun. Use your intent, your visualization, and your breath to move it through and push front and back through your bubble, through your aura, right? Through your auric field, your energy field. Anchor that solar plasmic energy and that light in through your root. Flex your crotch and your abs and push that light cord, your soul stream that I speak about in my energy video. Flex and anchor that cord into your Earth Star chakra. Expand your field. Request your DNA upgrades from your squad, from your angelics, from your guides, from your higher self, from Source itself, right? Only that which my physical vessel can handle at this time, give it to me, right? Dump it on, pour it on. As much as I can take, I request my DNA upgrades and my activations, that which I can hold at this time. Boom. And so it is, right? And spend a few moments receiving that light. Again, these photonic blasts that are coming in from these solar eruptions and the movement going on in our galaxy right now, the movement. We got some help that's come in, that's helping these energies come in for us and for the planet. Anyone who's not aware of these things is going to find that they're having extreme emotional outbursts or things that are coming up that they don't understand or they aren't aware of, right? These energies are purging whatever density, whatever, how can I say? Low vibrational, emotional, mental, and physical cords and energies that are existing within your field and within the planet herself. They're being brought up to the surface. They have to go. They can no longer exist here, right? I speak about this in my Dissolution of Duality video. So anyone who's not aware of what's happening, they're having these imbalanced feelings inside every day, right? There's an inner struggle happening because whether you like it or not, these energies are coming in. And so anyone who's unconscious or asleep right now, again, is going to be feeling extremely uncomfortable and divided inside, right? So help those around you if you see that happening, right? So food, water, source your water from the cleanest possible source. Go get alkaline. Distilled is the best water you can have. because distilled pulls everything out, and then what you can do is add back in your nutrients, right? You need to add back specific nutrients, right? I've been taking a lot of magnesium lately, but do your homework on what you can add back into your water as far as vital nutrients that we do need, right? But distilled is the best water you can get. Otherwise, get natural spring water, alkaline water, reverse osmosis, whatever it is, right? We want to be detoxing the fluoride out of our pineal gland, out of our bloodstream. We want to be pulling all the heavy metals out of our body. I use bentonite, colloidal bentonite to do this. You guys can get colloidal minerals. TJ Clark is great. I learned that one from Rion. I get my fulvic acid and other nutrients as far as colloidal minerals you can get through TJ Clark or other websites. Just do your homework. Get the best possible quality supplements you can get and take them every single day and set the intention to be clearing your cellular structure of these metals, of these harmful chemicals that we've been taking in forever, right? These plastics, fluoride, etc., etc. So you can do it through your food. Eat more live food, more raw food. We want to be feeding our cells photonic light, as much photonic light as possible, in order for them to continue activating and reversing whatever systematic downgrades they've been given, right? Photonic light from the sun is activating us and deprogramming our cells, right? Your water. Walk barefoot outside every day, you guys. You have to be connected to the planet in order to clear and ground out whatever's coming up for you energetically that's being purged. We're all experiencing it. We're all just at different levels of the video game as far as consciousness, right? So those are just some ways you guys can be actively working towards your DNA upgrades. Request them. Actively request for help, because the help is waiting and the help is there. Again, sun time is extremely important, especially during the fall and winter time when it's kind of gray outside, right? Anytime the sun is remotely out, I'm outside and I'm doing my work, even if for just 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to speak on today, is getting our DNA back online. How your DNA and galactic blueprint is the most valuable thing in this multiverse. And again, there's a reason why there's a blatant assault on the DNA structure on this planet right now. So do your work every day, stay out of fear, and instead of focusing on what's being projected onto you or programmed into the consciousness here, rather focus your energy on doing things that allow you to bob and weave these assaults, right? Be on the defense without being in fear. So I love you guys. I hope this helps. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Ciao for now.